Hey guys, my name is Matsumio, and welcome to our episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. The first question for today is, do you think that Vigil's gadget, when activated, should remove the yellow glow from Glaz's scope? Currently, there isn't any counter to Glaz when he has a smokescreen down on the objective. So I've been hearing this suggestion a lot lately because I think not only do people just want to have a buff to Vigil, they find him to be a bit underwhelming, but there's also some people that would like there to be a direct counter to Glaz. At higher tiers with a well-coordinated team, and especially in the pro scene, it can be very difficult to deal with Glaz. As long as the offensive team dealt with any Jaeger devices, smokescreen out the objective, plant the diffuser, and then just continuously throw out those smoke screens. Glaz then can overwatch that, and it's going to be very difficult for defense to get anywhere near that because, of course, Glaz can see them and they can't see him whatsoever. And so to have a direct counter in the form of Vigil might give defense at least somewhat of a fighting chance to retake that site. That said, though, I don't know if this would have the intended outcome that you're looking for. By itself, I do think that this would be a massive upgrade to Vigil, at least against Glaz. I think in a 1v1 situation, if there isn't a smoke screen down, this actually would give Vigil a huge advantage. Right now, Glaz players are conditioned to only shoot at things that are yellow. If it isn't glowing, it's a teammate. And so as soon as Vigil rounds the corner, even though Glaz sees the movement, they see that, hey, someone just came out into that hallway, they're gonna think that it's a teammate. By the time they realize, oh god, that's actually a Vigil's gonna have the advantage. He can line it up and take him down. You guys know in Siege, the split second is gonna mean the difference between you winning and losing, and so to give Vigil at least that little bit of breathing room to figure out, oh hey, that's a Glaz out there, and start to retaliate is gonna be enough for him to win that firefight. Now, as for your intended use, which is to retake the objective when smokes are constantly going down, I don't really know if this would matter all that much. A lot of the times when the smoke screen is down, your teammates are not in front of you. You're waiting for them to push on forward. Like you know that anyone that's about to enter into the room is an enemy. And even if it does take you a split second longer to identify, oh, hey, wait, that's a Vigil, is that really gonna matter? Vigil can't see you. You can see him. It gives you that brief couple of seconds to be like, okay, yeah, that's an enemy Vigil. That's still plenty of time to be able to take him down. And so I don't know if I'm entirely sold on this concept. I like the idea of having a counter to Glaz. That smoke tactic can be really frustrating, but I don't really think it would do anything in those situations. Really, this would just be a nerf to Glaz, and Glaz has already seen a lot of nerfs. When it's a one-on-one fight and you don't have a smoke screen down, I feel like Glaz is pretty well balanced. Like, yes, they glow, that's gonna allow him to acquire targets really quickly, but because they reduce the damage of his weapon significantly in those last couple of patches, it still feels relatively fair and balanced. As soon as you give Vigil this leg up, I mean, I guess, yes, you could say that's that direct counter to the tactic that we talked about, because if he's able to take out Glaz before he's able to use that tactic, that works. But I think for a majority of the time, this is just going to be a kick in the knee to Glaz, and I don't know if that is necessarily needed right now. But of course, that is just my 2 cents. The next question comes from Matt, and it is, how about an option to sacrifice your phone at the beginning of a round so that you can't get called by Dokkaebi, but you also can't access cameras? So it seems like a lot of people like this idea, not only because of the realistic aspect of it. And if you're in the middle of an op and your phone goes off, you're going to dispose of it. You're going to make sure that that phone doesn't go off anymore, but also because a lot of people just seem to get really annoyed by those phone calls, and they would love to be able to have a counter to it directly no matter the operator. Now, one part of me likes these kind of dynamics. If I'm able to give something up to gain some sort of benefit, that just adds a further layer of tactics and strategy into Rainbow Six Siege. If I don't have a Valkyrie on my team and I know that the clock is running down and all of our cameras are taken out, well, then my phone is completely useless at that point, and it would make sense if I'm observant to that fact to dispose or take out my phone, and so that it doesn't ring by Dokkaebi. That would be the smart play. The thing is, though, is that I have a feeling that this would be a significant nerf to her and make her gadget worthless because it wouldn't be reliable anymore. You have to remember that there already are counter counters to Dokkaebi. If you're playing as Echo, your phone doesn't ring because he doesn't have a phone. But also, if you're standing on a mute jammer and she calls, your phone also won't ring. And so there already is that kind of dynamic in Rainbow Six Siege, but it's exclusive to those operators. As soon as you make it available to every single operator, then it just isn't reliable whatsoever. As soon as you give defenders the ability to dispose of their own phones, you just simply cannot rely on her gadget anymore. You call them, you don't hear anything, well, it's like, all right, well, there might be someone there, or there might not. I have absolutely no idea. I would be better off just droning. And if your argument is, well, you should be droning, well, that just defeats the entire purpose of her very gadgets. And so all in all, it's for those very reasons why I don't think a change like this is necessary. Yes, it may not be realistic. In a real life situation, you would turn off your phone or get rid of it entirely, but we have to remember that this is a video game. This is the mechanic that Ubisoft gave to her to make her unique. As soon as you take that away or you allow people to work around, I really do think that this would be a gigantic kick to the shin. And while I don't know if necessarily she would be worthless, she wouldn't be as good as she is right now. And I really do think that she is relatively well balanced. The next question comes from Jordan, and it is, what do you think about a defender who could spray down invisible gel that makes attackers leave behind footprints only visible under the UV light attached to the operator's weapon? Also, the gel could amplify the footstep sounds of incoming attackers by making a squishy noise, but both the footsteps and the tracking effect only last for a certain distance instead of time. So I really like this idea. I'm someone who likes to gather information for my teammates, and if I was able to make the offensive team footprints louder for a short period of time, that could be really valuable. Now, you might be saying, wait a second, this sounds very similar to Lesion. Like, if you're making someone obvious that they're coming from a certain angle, isn't that exactly what Lesion does? And I would agree with you. The thing with Lesion, though, is that as soon as you activate the trap, you can run away and hit it from a different angle. As soon as you have this gel on their feet, it lasts for a short period of time, or it lasts for a distance for how far they run. And so they're gonna have to run around, make a lot of noise if they wanna get rid of that gel. They can't just sit there hoping and praying that you forget about them, because as soon as they start to move again, they're gonna start making that loud noise once again. And so it's gonna make it really obvious, especially at the end of a round where they don't have time to, run around for a bit, where you're coming from. Now, as for the UV part, to be able to see the footprints, I don't know if that would be all that useful. I mean, it's great for offense as Jackal because you're trying to find the roamers, but is that really gonna matter as a defender? A lot of times you know where they're coming from because they had to break open barricades. Like, you're hearing them coming, like it should be very obvious. You also have a lot of cameras scattered around the map. Having to physically go where offense was, I really don't know if that's going to be all that useful. I think the reason why I like it so much is just to have that knowledge that someone is pushing from that direction and making it very obvious. If you want to know that an Ashe is rushing, hearing that squishing noise is going to be a pretty good indication. Even if they're crouch walking, I would hope that this would make a loud noise to give you that leg up. And so while it doesn't do anything flashy, it's not a Capcan trap, it's not doing any damage whatsoever, it's all about information gathering, I think this could be a really cool addition to the game. The next question comes from Scott, and it is, do you think that Mute's Jammer should stop the diffuser from being planted? Would this be useful or not necessary? Well, I don't know how useful it would be because, let's be completely honest, in most situations, and like for 95%, I made that number up just on the top of my head, but for a majority of your matches, this isn't really going to have that much of an impact and probably will have no impact whatsoever. A lot of times, you are not trying to plant the diffuser down anywhere near a mute jammer, and honestly, as soon as you see the mute jammer and you know this mechanic is in place, you're gonna take it out really quickly. But in those very few situations where the clock is running out, you don't have time to look around for what's on the ground, you try to plant the diffuser, this could actually win you games, especially if you have the diffuser slightly behind something so that it's a little bit hidden away, or if you're putting it down in those prime plant spots. This could mean the difference between your team winning and losing. This would also be a nice little upgrade to Mute. I definitely don't think that he's overpowered, he's nowhere near. I'd say he's pretty well balanced right now, but to have this side little upgrade could be a nice treat. Like, to win a round because you had an appropriate mute jammer could be awesome. Like, those moments are really fun. Those are the moments that make Rainbow Six Siege enjoyable. And if you know you won simply because of your mute jammer, that could be incredible. Now, the real question is, though, should Ubisoft even make this change? We just said that it's not going to impact many matches, so why even bother? It's a really good argument. Like, spend your resources, spend your time on making other changes. And while I don't imagine that this would take all that long, I'm not a developer, but I can't imagine this being all that strenuous for them to implement. Is it really necessary? But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's episode of Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about what we discussed in today's video. Do you like the idea of making Vigil a direct counter to Glaz? Are you not too thrilled by that? Let me know down below. As always, if you would like to submit your own question for an upcoming episode, you can also leave a comment or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.